7 names, no games as I run it down the line. We got Kenny Ken put 100 on the tees with the streak for the cash. ESPN, Seth Curry with the shot. The prodigy. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, Eldad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the league ambassadors, and we playing to win. At the 2-yard line, and make no mistake, we running it in. Pete Carroll, we see you.
Welcome to 32 Kings Road, hosted by the League Ambassadors. I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and it is my pleasure to be here today with my brothers. This is our 63rd episode of 32 Kings Road, and we will discuss all things Super Bowl 53. But first, as a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, that's Instagram. Also, please check out our website, theleagueam.com. And finally, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors. We've got a good show today. We're going to do some moments in Hendeg football history regarding our Super Bowl teams. We're going to talk about key matchups. We've got some hot topics to cover. Junior Blue, good to see you, sir. What are you sipping on?
I'm sipping on this Bacardi 10-year. And also I'm sipping on the fact that I put on a job application to be a videographer for the New England Patriots because last time that job paid very well when they won against the Rams, the last time they played in the Super Bowl. So I didn't get it, but I'm feeling like somebody got the job, and they might just know plays that the Rams never ran during the regular season.
All right. Kev, what you sipping on, sir?
Gentlemen, I'm sipping on this beautiful bottle of Capriccio Sangria that I just found out was a thing over the weekend. It looks pretty girly, but halfway through one of these, and I'm taking my pants off. I also
That's normal. That's nothing special. You drink some water and do that.
Tuesday. I just want to take a moment out and thank Al Gore for creating the internet. We've had some pretty memorable things go down in our chat this week, thanks to the Twitterverse, the Googleverse, and it's made my day pretty enjoyable. So I just want to thank them for that. And Omar, you keep up the stuff you're sending, man, because it makes my days a hell of a lot better.
You're welcome. I'm sipping on some Girl Scout cookies.
Yes.
We've got Dosey Dos. It's Girl Scout season.
Yes, it is.
I'll let Ambassador Dad talk more about that. On a serious note, Empire star Jussie Smollett was attacked with a noose, racial homophobic slurs in Chicago this morning. Just a reminder, be sober, be vigilant. The racists and the bigots are emboldened, and those who are on the side of righteousness and love must be prepared to match and surpass the aggression of these cowards. That's what I'm sipping on.
Yeah.
What you sipping on, Dad?
Nothing as serious as that.
How you supposed to follow that with some
Hi
goddamn...
guys, let's talk about some Girl Scout cookies. Really quick, my daughter Debbie's selling Girl Scout cookies. If you are interested, we can make it happen and get it to you no matter where you are. Just hit us up on at the League AM, Twitter or Instagram, and we'll look out for you. But what I'd like to sip on is Hennessy. And the reason that is because former running back Clinton Portis said this week that he used to drink Hennessy before every game. Not to get trashed or turned.
Nah.
He treated it like, he said before you go out to the club, you want to take a little sip.
Pre-game.
So he wanted the pregame before the pregame before the game.
That's right.
So he wanted to feel loose. But something we might want to touch on later, not in the sipping on segment, but is that the right move? Because when you drink Hennessy, you feel loose. You don't feel shit. It's better than getting addicted to opioids.
Wow.
All I want to say is that I'm just glad that there's replay because on first pass, you slurred a little bit there. I was like, what?
Oh, did I? Oh, y'all got to tell me about it later. I didn't see that.
Redo.
Them thin mints getting to it.
You can have it.
What you sipping on, Redo?
Thin mints. But I'm also sipping on two things. One, on this day, 15 years ago, my oldest child was born. I helped deliver him. It's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Kyrie.
Wow, 15.
Dang.
Yeah. I will say this. I am extremely proud of this kid. Happy birthday, and I love you. Now I'm back to regular order. I can only be sentimental so long before I start to feel warm. So yesterday, the sports world was set ablaze by Rich Paul and Anthony Davis. His agent put out a statement saying that Anthony Davis has notified the New Orleans Pelicans that he will not sign the deal, his extension, the max extension, and he would prefer to be traded. And of course, the reactions were just as big as the bomb that they dropped. So what I want to throw to you guys is a lot of things. One, how do we think the Pels are going to react? Two, how will the league react because they are investigating already? Where do we think he's going to end up? Really? And whatever ancillary items come in, like Clay all of a sudden is talking about he wants to come to the Lakers if they don't give him a max contract. Whatever. The things that are changing all because AD made one statement. Kev.
Well, it was a pretty expensive statement because Rich Paul got him fined $50,000 a day, we mentioned it, when the conversation came up in the chat, and the NBA's collective bargaining agreement prohibits both players and agents from requesting trade. So I believe that's why he was fined. My thought on it is, this is the first domino to fall, and to see how teams react. Obviously he's being linked to the Lakers, but just to see, first off, from you guys' standpoint, Les, Ken, and O, like, what would you guys be willing to give up to get him? Because you may have to give up something.
I will dig up Jerry Buss.
Necromancy?
I would trade Magic in his prime.
Said Magic.
So you'd be willing to give up?
My point is, whatever they want, they can have.
Yeah. I coming into the season, and probably as recently as 2 days ago, I didn't want to give up. I wouldn't have been okay with giving up all of the the young pieces. But in actually looking at the numbers, right, and what we could still be able to do if that were the case, I'm fine with having to do that. So giving up, all the names. I do believe, though, that if the Lakers are to trade for him, that we will still be left with one of Ingram, Kuzma, or Lonzo. And at that point, if you're getting Anthony Davis, doesn't matter who the player is. But I think we will have one remaining, and that's because I think they will engage a third team that will be able to give a piece of value to New Orleans. Because I think the way that this should be done, in the last two times that a team has been in this position where a player has basically said, I'm out, those were very emotional sort of experiences with Indiana, with Paul George, and then with San Antonio and Kawhi Leonard. Like, you could tell the deals, those were emotional experiences. I don't think it's emotional with New Orleans. One, I think that franchise is on its last legs in that city. I think after this deal is done, I think you'll see the Pelicans organization be sold and then move somewhere else.
Seattle.
And so then I think from that position, a team, even though the Pelicans, they lose leverage when a player comes out and says, I'm leaving a year before their walk year, the Pelicans are in a position to where they can make the best deal possible, which I think is a combination of an established player, young prospects, and draft picks, and cap space relief. They can get all of those things. And as a Laker fan, I'm happy that we can facilitate that they get all of those things because of our cap situation.
Isn't there a better deal out there from other teams that have more to offer than the players?
The only
Not today.
Not at this moment. If they
Not
wait,
the Celtics?
No.
yeah,
Celtics can't make a
the
trade.
Celtics can't make
Till
a trade
July.
till
But
summer.
right.
Right, but if you're the Pelicans and you want to get the best bang for your buck, why would you rush to do that? Why wouldn't you wait till July?
I would say the difference in this instance specifically is more so like Paul George wanted to come to the Lakers, but his agent had history with the Lakers that wasn't positive.
Right.
So it wasn't as much of a lockstep thing. And I think part of the outrage that the league has now, besides the standard jealousy, which always happens, is Rich Paul and LeBron James. That's as good as it gets to knowing that Anthony Davis wants to come to the Lakers. So if you're Boston, and I'll ask you, Dev, if you're Boston, right? Because I'll tell you right now, if Boston calls New Orleans and says, we'll give you Tatum and Brown plus the draft picks, that's a better deal than anything the Lakers could do.
Yeah.
But I don't see Boston for a rental. I don't see Boston throwing in Jason Tatum, which I think then you say that's not a better deal than what the Lakers can put together either by themselves or bringing in the third team.
The reason why I think they would do it is because the way that they've looked this year with Kyrie being back, they're not as good. They're not as dynamic as far as like being able to spread the ball. It makes the second best coach in the league look like he took a step back when it's really not his fault. But I think if you are able to get rid of some of those pieces that kind of do the same thing and it's a log jam,
Redundant, yep.
then you bring that in, then that allows them to get, well, they're probably going to get to Eastern Conference Finals anyway, but that gives them a leg up.
But are you going to do that for a rental?
Yeah.
But here's
Are
the
we,
thing.
are we sure that it's a rental?
That's what I'm
But
saying.
you don't know.
You don't know, but more, even more so than Paul George, and certainly more so than the Kawhi Leonard. It was even reported today that, and I think it would have actually been announced had the fine not went out, that Rich Paul is telling teams or was going
wants
to
to go to
say
the Lakers.
that he wants to go to the Lakers. That if you trade for Anthony Davis, you're trading for a rental. So, and in Boston's case specifically, they're not even sure that they're going to be able to resign Kyrie.
Yep.
Wait, here's what I'm worried about. One, there are teams who are putting feelers out there saying, listen, if we can get a trade done by the trade deadline, we feel like Anthony Davis for this year and next year is worth it because that's 2 playoff runs on our team. There are teams who are considering that. Not saying that's going to happen, but there are teams that are considering that. And I do believe Danny Ainge hates the Lakers enough to say, and he knows that Anthony Davis and Kyrie are friends, to say, if I can get him on here, I can get Kyrie to sign long-term, and I'll have those 2 here. And I think he thinks he can do that. So and there is no incentive for New Orleans to do it now because the same deal the Lakers are going to give them now is going to be the same deal that'll happen
Right, so why wait?
in July.
I mean,
Not
why not wait?
not if it's a 3-team deal. And again, I maintain and I'm not even saying this as a fan, just as a basketball
And
person.
I was about to get to that. Let me finish. That's the one part of that really is where it gets in the hate for the Lakers from other teams. When you have coaches and GMs who are calling the New Orleans Pelicans and saying don't kowtow to the Lakers, like I can see them just waiting until the summertime.
The one neutralizer, the one thing that can combat that is, and that's why I said this before, is salary relief. And the teams that are talked about being able to that are interested in making a trade for Anthony Davis, none of them can provide the sort of salary cap, take back the contracts.
A mix of youngsters and salary cap relief.
But go ahead, Les.
And think about over the summer, if you think about it, they're not sure they can sign Kyrie. So you're gonna go trade all your assets, Tatum, Brown, the Grizzlies pick, the Clippers pick, and Sacramento's pick, and all these picks.
Do all those picks.
They're gonna have to do something because outside of that, what do they have? It doesn't help them.
It doesn't beat what the Lakers can offer.
Yeah.
And the reason why you would do it now is because the teams, when I talk about the salary cap relief and being able to get a player of consequence, an example would be Orlando with Nikola Vucevic. Vucevic is in the final year of his deal. Orlando's not going to re-sign Vucevic. They want to play their young bigs. Vucevic in an expiring deal, right? Orlando is able to recoup value for moving him now. Same thing with the Phoenix Suns, for example, and you look at a player like TJ Warren. So the advantage to doing the deal now is that, again, you not only get the salary cap relief that the Lakers will absorb from player contracts that they may want to get rid of, but by engaging a third team that has a player that's in his walk year, you get to then pick up talent as well, like established NBA talent.
And then I was looking today at what he would get which we know isn't going to happen, but the max if he stays 5 years, 239. I mean, I just left New Orleans. I could take 239 and just take an L every year. It's not that. But Les, I do want to know, Les, do you agree with Kenyon in terms that you'll sell the farm? There's no like line to be drawn in terms of the young talent that you're willing to give up?
Yeah, I would give it all up. Like we had a discussion earlier today about all the salary cap that we would have left over. Even if we gave up the farm, that allows us still to sign a third star. Now, let's say we don't want to sign. Let's say we don't have $32 million. We don't want to spend $32 million on Clay or on Kyrie or something like that. That gives us about $41 million to fill out the rest of our roster. I mean, I'm okay with that. If that means LeBron and AD is on our squad,
I think you should do the latter instead. I mean, because what LeBron has been doing is getting that. You get AD right, and then you go get that third star, and then your bench is awful.
Right, that's what I said. That's what Golden State's feeling right now.
Right, and the last thing before we get out of here, I think that what is the NBA going to do moving forward if the feelers are being put out there that if he's just a rental, forcing basically other people to back out when the Pelicans might not like the Lakers deal more so than other people if he's saying that if you trade me, I'm not going to re-sign. Like how that's a.
I mean, there's only two deals that one thing that could probably beat the Lakers, and that's Boston, and if New York is the number one pick, because then you can get Zion.
So it's not like you're settling for, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not taking a 7th level pick. In terms of what the NBA can do, what it is, and I think we've talked about this before, maybe on confirmation bias. It's a paradigm shift where these players, certain players anyway, have figured out that they have the leverage not in their last year, but in the year before their last year. So what is the adjustment that teams can make? The adjustment that teams can make is this. They got to stop being afraid of what could be on the other side. The Lakers are in the position that they're in right now because we let Dwight Howard walk for nothing. That opened up a ton of cap space. And we could have had even more cap space if we didn't pay Kobe Bryant the contract that we did. We had so much cap space that Tweedledee and Tweedledum decided to pay Luol Deng and Mozgov $80 million. But here's the thing. If a superstar player leaves and you don't, to your point, Devin, you don't get offers that you like, okay, let him walk and now build the roster. You're going to be bad anyway, so you're going to have picks. Build the roster in the way that you see fit. Don't just settle for an offer or take bad offers. That's the takeaway.
That takes balls.
Anyway, let's get on to our moments in hand egg history.
Oh, looks like we won't have our.
We won't have a transition segment, but trust us, we're going into our history segment. 17 years to the day. Super Bowl 53 is a rematch of the Patriots versus the Rams. 17 years ago, the Rams were in St. Louis. They're now in Los Angeles. Nevertheless, it's a rematch 17 years in the making, right down to the fact that when they met 17 years ago, it was also in an NFC South dome. It was in New Orleans. This time, the matchup is in Atlanta. So this is a special edition of our history segment. The first part of it, we want to focus in on the Los Angeles Rams. And the question I have for you guys, and I'll start with you, Dad, is we've got the Rams. We've got the 99 Rams, greatest show on turf, who went 13-3.
Yep.
Just like this year's Rams, 2018. They also went 13-3. We know those 99 Rams had Kurt Warner, the grocery store clerk. We've got Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk.
Yep, keep going.
We've got Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt,
Still going. Keep going.
Oz Hakeem, What was his first name? What was his first name?
Don't try it.
Is that
It
bad?
was Oz something I came.
Yeah. Oz Hakeem, Ricky Prohl, Orlando Pace, another Hall of Famer. And we know the greatest show
Mike
on
Jones.
turf. Well, so I was going to say, defensively, though, there was some key players as well. Kevin Carter.
Led the league in sacks that year.
We don't have to, come on.
Just ask me the question. You're answering it for me.
No, but I'm just saying, you're just bring that. But listen, we got the 2018.
London Fletcher.
The London Fletcher, Drew, 2018 Rams. We've got Aaron Donald.
If you don't ask the question,
We've got Todd Gurley.
He's stretching this shit out.
we already stretched the second one. Just go ahead and ask the question.
No reason.
They both went 13-3.
Uh-huh.
Which Super Bowl team is the better team?
The one that won. No, I'm sorry, they didn't win. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it's the 1999. Well, first of all, 99 did win.
99 did win. It was
Yeah.
it was
Okay,
two
so
plus one.
are we talking about the 99 Rams?
We're talking about the 99
Okay, all right.
Rams.
So the one that won, their quarterback was better.
Are you saying that we're at 2000? Let's just 2018 Rams are not going to win? Is that what you're saying?
We're gonna get to a segment.
Wait. Put it like
Are
this.
we
Even
merging shit?
He said the one that won.
Let's say the Rams win this year.
Uh-huh.
What team is better?
1999. The quarterback is better. The running back is arguably better. I think he's better. The receiving
Arguably.
core,
It's not a question.
yeah, I know.
It's the closest race
It's the
between
closest.
anything else.
The receiving core is way better. You look at the defense. The defense
And I don't
has
even think
more
that's
stars. Right, it's not close. The defense on this year has more stars, but that unit played together. They had a great DC. He became a head coach somewhere. They had a great OC. He became a head coach somewhere. It's not even a question, bro. Like,
Listen,
this year's Rams doesn't even have a fucking nickname.
This year's Rams, because everybody's putting up points. But this year's Rams, they just like 99 Rams, they led the NFC in total yards. They led the NFC in passing yards. Both teams scored literally the exact same amount of points, 32.9 points per game. Now, what I will say, in the interest of fairness, before I go to you, Red Oil,
There is
that,
no fairness in this shit.
the 99 Rams had the best rushing defense, and they led the NFL in sacks.
Mm-hmm.
So you also say the 99 Rams?
So say we all.
This is it.
Let's just say only one team had Oz Zahir Ali, and the other one didn't. I'm on board for all the reasons mentioned, of course, but I think we have to look at these two teams, their seasons, their regular seasons at least, in context. And that Rams team that year wasn't expected to take the division the way that they did. I mean, Kenya, I believe you may have been a fan at this time, but the 49ers had won 13 of won the division 13 out of the 18 previous years. And then I think Steve Young got hurt in like the first week of the season. So they ultimately, went ahead and took the division. But like you said, their defense was better than what people remember them as. I think they only gave up 20 more points like 5 times throughout the season.
Yeah. First
dome team to win a Super Bowl. We've been critical of that style of play on several episodes. But I think just where they fall, like even if this Rams team does beat the Patriots, which we'll get to, I don't think that we'll remember them the way that we will always remember that greatest show on turf, because they were what offenses are now. How long has it been? Almost 20 years.
19
years before what we see the NFL as now. So, yeah, I definitely give it to the greatest show
and
on turf.
piggybacking on that, Kev, you said that they scored the same amount of points, and the league that they played in was a lot tougher as far as the rules. So if they played now with that spread, wide open
Lord.
offense,
Yeah.
and 3 legit murderers on Ricky Prohl was a fucking problem.
Ricky Prohl was the fourth one.
Right.
Yeah.
I had put him 3. Oz is the returner. He comes in for the speed shit.
Oz was in. Yeah, he was in there for the hoochie coochie.
And on top of that, Dev, you look at who they beat to get there in the playoffs. They beat Jeff George's Vikings. I mean, he had no business quarterbacking those monsters on that offense, but they put up a lot of points. That Buccaneers defense, the offense wasn't that great, but that Bucs defense was legit. And then they beat one of the best teams to lose in the Super Bowl, in the Titans, by this much. So I think they had a tougher road than whatever we're going to see this Rams team face throughout the playoffs and then on Sunday.
You got anything to add to that, Les? Anything for the 2018 Rams?
Hey, how many Hall of Famers you think is on a 2018 team? Just think about it. Aaron Donald.
One so far.
That's one.
Yeah, I think it's only one, actually.
The Rams have 3 players up for the Hall of Fame this year and 2 coaches. That's not to include the 3 that's already in from that team.
What are the 3?
You have
Pace, Warner, and
Falk. And you still got Holt, Bruce, and Fletcher.
And Isaac Bruce should have been.
And we could argue Isaac, right? You was going to say we could argue Isaac Bruce.
Yeah, so. Yeah, 99.
All right.
Did you have the 18 Rams?
Hell nah.
Kevin made a good joke that he said he wasn't going to repeat.
Kevin, what was the joke?
I said if anyone was to pick the 2018 Rams, it should have been Kenyon, but he didn't because he's a Charger. I'm sorry, an ex San Diego, LA Charger. He's confused.
I was never a San Diego Charger. All right, let's get to our Brexit boot bag winner, and this is a special edition because we're rounding out towards the end of the season. Ambassador Chef Curry, you've got 2 boot baggers this week. Take it away.
I do, guys, and this should be a fun one. So we're going to start off with our first co-winner, and that is the Chiefs wide receiver, DeAnthony Thomas, Crenshaw High's finest, who was stopped by police Thursday for speeding in Humboldt, Kansas, by an Allen County Sheriff deputy. And the deputy smelled the burnt odor of marijuana. Upon contact and searched his vehicle, Thomas was arrested due to evidence located in the vehicle at the time of the search, which was, of course, weed. Now, I'm not going to necessarily criticize the young brother for smoking weed because I don't know him or his struggles, and I do know that coping mechanisms are indeed real. But what I will say is if you're going to smoke weed and you're going to drive really fast in the deep south, don't do it 2 months before you become a free agent. You should probably secure the bag before you cop a bag, but he hustling backwards. So our second award winner is Lions linebacker, Mr. Trevor Bates, who was charged with resisting arrest, obstructing governmental administration, theft of services, and second-degree assault for punching a police officer. Now, Bates was arrested after he was accused of not paying a $32 cab fee in New York. Bates became agitated while at the precinct and punched the police sergeant above his left eye. He gave the officer a concussion and he needed 3 stitches. Now, police allegedly subdued Bates with a stun gun, after which Bates ripped the taser prongs from his body. Now, again, I'm not going to make fun of this brother because
I am.
He's currently undergoing mental health evaluation at a hospital. And mental health is real, especially in our community. And I hope he gets the treatment he needs. I also think that America should pay for Black people's mental health services as a form of reparations. But I still do have an issue with Mr. Bates because he needed to get from Manhattan to Queens in the year 2019 AD. And this motherfucker still took a cab. If you download Uber or Lyft or there's any other way he could have gotten there, none of this would have happened. But he didn't. He took a cab and he's in jail. Well, he was in jail and now he's undergoing some health eval. So I think once he gets his mind right, he should get Mr. Thomas to come scoop him up in the car he likes to drive so fast, come by the network studios, and both of y'all can pick up y'all Brexit boot bag awards.
Golf clap for both of them.
Golf clap for both of them. And by the way, it wasn't in the deep south for DeAnthony Thomas. It was in the deep Midwest. He was in Kansas, Dorothy.
If it's south of D.C., it's the South.
That's worse. That's worse.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, let's get to the second portion of our Moments in Hendag.
Maybe we'll get it this time.
It's fine. We're going to talk about the New England Patriots. And this has been talked about ad nauseum, is the 9th Super Bowl appearance for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
That's disgusting.
9 out of 18 years, which is amazing. And so the question I have for you guys is, of the 9 Super Bowl appearances, this Patriots team that won 11 games, I feel like all season we kind of were iffy on how good they were going to be. We knew they were going to win the AFC East because the AFC East is just that bad. But and I think the general consensus is that this may be actually one of the worst Patriots teams to make the Super Bowl of the 9. Red O, do you agree with that statement? Do you have them as the 9th worst Brady Belichick Patriots team to make the Super Bowl?
I do not.
You do not. Where do you have them?
I have them at 1 for the most impressive. At his age and what he's continuing to do, it is more impressive the older he gets. It's not easier.
Right.
It's harder to keep winning and to keep getting to the fucking Super Bowl. It's harder every time, and he continues to do it. And at this age, no one has ever done it at this level. And to me, that's more impressive
That's just what he does.
than a young whippersnapper.
That's interesting. I didn't know where you were going to go with that, but I mean, there is something to be said for that. How do you feel about that, Dad?
I don't necessarily disagree with Omar, but that's not my choice. I think that if you're looking at the teams, the 9 teams, I have them as the 8th best or 2nd worst. Just because
That's why I went to you.
right.
You had him at the bottom.
Right. Just because if you look at I have the first one as the worst, because if you look at the collection of players they had there, no one thought they would have a chance against the greatest show on turf coming back. And I think now, since they've won those and they're so used to being in the Super Bowl and winning, and Brady is who he is now because he wasn't then, although we write them off all the time, you kind of expect them to kind of get here. No one expected that from them, and that's why I think they're the worst team. And this is the 2nd worst.
Junior Blue, you and I both had them 7th. What is it about this team in particular that makes this unit so unappreciated or underrated, or maybe it's properly rated? I don't know, but I mean, because again, Omar makes an interesting point, but it was just focused on Brady, right?
Well, honestly, I think the team, they never excelled in anything, and they had times in the season where they were horrible on defense. Then they were good on defense. They had times where they couldn't pass the ball. They had times where there was no running game. And it didn't look like it was by choice, like it was game planning. It was literally they struggled with doing it. You know, when they went to Detroit, when they lost games like that, they struggled doing what they wanted to do. And that's something that we don't usually see. They usually have a game plan, execute it, and you know, they lose a couple games. Game in Miami, they might lose here or there, but it's not because of, hey, we couldn't stop them. It's not because, hey, we couldn't get the ball to our receivers. It's just because sometimes it doesn't work out that way. This year, it seemed like there was games where they would try to run. The game plan was to run, and they couldn't do it. The game plan was to pass, and they couldn't do it. And that's something I don't think I've seen much of since the 2001 season.
Kev, where you got this team rated?
I agree with Dev. I have them 8th, but I thought the worst team was actually last year.
I agree.
They had no, I mean, okay, they beat the Titans, who shouldn't have been in the playoffs. They beat the Jaguars, who had them beat for, 40 minutes of that game that they should have beat had they ran anything other than a cross route, had a quarterback that was capable of throwing the ball downfield. Of course, they ended up losing to the Eagles, as we all know. But I thought that team last year had no business being in the Super Bowl. And then we look at the team this year, the 2 playoff games they won to get here, I think all of us picked against them. I mean, we thought, Kenyon, that your ex would have taken care of business that first playoff game. We thought the Chiefs would at least expose them because we've seen it. And then it didn't happen. And then when you just look at those teams for the last, decade or so, other than that first Super Bowl team that Devin mentioned in 01, this is the only time they've won less than 12 regular season games and made a Super Bowl. And then that 2001 team, like Devin said, beat the greatest show on turf. I think they were just an experienced quarterback away from people really believing in him. If Drew Bledsoe was out there, there wouldn't have been a question in terms of them at least competing in that game. And Tom Brady did what he had to do on that last drive. They got some questionable calls, but again, we've seen that movie before.
Lightning in the thunderstorm.
Yeah, I mean,
They shouldn't even have been in that fucking game. Right, Les?
Exactly. Lightning in a snowstorm. They caught it.
All right, let's get on to our football tea and hot topics. First of all, last Sunday, as has been custom now for a while, the NFL had its All-Star Showcase game, better known as the Pro Bowl. Show of hands, anybody watch the game? Right. So my question is, because this is supposed to be part of what we do, what is the solution? Is there a solution for this game?
Yes.
No.
Kev?
yes, I think they should still vote and select guys to the Pro Bowl, just like they do the All-Pro team, and then don't play the game because nobody's watching it. It's basically disrespectful to football. And guys are really just showing up to get a check, which I can't blame them, but I didn't watch TV while the Pro Bowl was on. Like, I didn't even put it on in the background. I just did something else that didn't involve television. And as a football fan, that's embarrassing.
I've been screaming the same thing for a long time. Is I believe they should turn that instead of having the game, turn it into a black tie affair, have the red carpet in the week in between the Super Bowl and whatever city that they're having the Super Bowl. And then you have all the players come out. You don't have to have alternates, people who don't fucking deserve to be there. You know what I mean?
Mr. Trubisky.
Then you give away, exactly. You give away all the awards, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. You give all the awards. You have the players come up, get an award. Then you have performers. You make it a party and let them shine. You have the O-lines come up without their helmets because they never get to shine. Like, you make it something that is no impact, but make it an event.
So essentially move NFL honors to
Yes.
To fix the Pro Bowl, cancel the Pro Bowl.
So, but my question, but how is that different? Okay, so awards theme aside, how is that different, guys, than being named All-Pro?
It's not.
That's what, like, so for me, I feel like there should be a game because it's an all-star game. It would be the only sport that doesn't have an all-star game.
You didn't even watch it. So how you advocate for a game?
You can't play football at half speed.
It's too physical a sport to play.
I mean, the most exciting thing was Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley rushing the quarterback.
Yeah,
that's the highlight I saw.
I didn't even know that happened.
I mean,
Mike Evans played
Instagram.
corner. Yeah, Mike Evans played corner.
Can you imagine if somebody ends their career at the Pro Bowl?
That's happened.
Yeah. I mean,
So if the game does continue to get played, what should or could happen for anyone to actually watch it?
nothing. You shouldn't play it because first of all, there's 29 replacements in this Pro Bowl. So like you alluded to, Mitch Trubisky shouldn't have been there. He was a quarterback who was 20th in passing, and he threw to Jarvis Landry, who was 19th in receptions. How is that an all-star game? So you get rid of that completely. So I think what they should do, there's two things I think they should do. One, they should either scrap the game and utilize the skills challenge that they do before and make more emphasis on that and treat it like the NBA All-Star Weekend because, have the fastest man in NFL races, have jug catches or something other than this shit because no one's going to go full speed. You could do that and see how that works. Or I shared this in the chat. There was an article that Matt Foley wrote for the Daily Dose saying that they should scrap the game altogether and then they should have the bottom 8 teams play 4 games on Saturday and Sunday for the seeding of the draft. So you have 7 versus 8, 5 versus 6, and so on. And then the winner of those games move up in position for the draft. And that way you have players that are actually fucking playing. There's football on TV that has a consequence. And it means something.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I think it does change how it does change how and dilutes what Pro Bowls mean to guys when it actually mattered. Like when we would do the Mount Rushmore, right? The one thing that we would all bring up is, man, this dude went to 12 Pro Bowls, 14 Pro Bowls. And this is no knock on Mr. Trubisky. Omar, I like him. I think you guys are going to lose to us in the Super Bowl next year. I just think that when he has that on his resume, not deserving. When Andy Dalton played in the Pro Bowl 2-3 years ago. It's like that doesn't hold up the way that it did 10, 20 years ago. Same way Billboard charts, stuff like that. It just doesn't add up. So we go to compare guys 10, 15 years from now when our children are doing this show and talking Mount Rushmore, that's going to come up on somebody's resume that they don't deserve it. And I feel like when you start to dilute people's great players' achievements, then you really have a problem on your hands.
And I agree with you 100% because once you dilute something, it doesn't mean the same thing. And when Kareem Hunt scores 2 touchdowns on y'all in the Super Bowl in our victory, you're going to be mad.
So just to keep business official, the score of the game was 26-7. The AFC won. Patrick Mahomes and Jamal Adams were the offensive and defensive MVPs. Apparently, this will be the last time the game is in Orlando. The weather was shitty. They're taking it back to Hawaii. Next on our football tee, the biggest non-Super Bowl story in the NFL is still the story of Antonio Brown and the Pittsburgh Steelers. As of right now, the Steelers have not given Brown or his agent permission to seek trades. It was reported that reconciliation is still possible. First question for you guys. What's the best option for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm not going to ask the Baltimore guys. I'll just ask Omar and Junior Blue.
I wasn't going to say Baltimore.
We can be unbiased.
Yeah, I actually have a good one.
Win.
So what's the best option for them? Should they try to make it work?
I think it's San Francisco.
Or should they get rid of before we get to destinations?
Well, I don't think they can make it work because it takes 2 to make it work. And if AB want reconciliation, that means we both got to be sitting here at the therapist. And I think AB wants to go.
Well, the Steelers haven't given his agent. And the thing to remember in all of this is in order to cut Antonio Brown loose, they're going to be okay with taking some sort of a financial hit, a pretty substantial one. $22 million to do this. So best option for Pittsburgh, Junior Blue. Work it out
and keep him on the squad.
If it's possible.
Dad?
I don't think the relationship can be saved. I know that's a big financial hit, but there's a team out there that could kind of help with this whole thing, and Omar's not going to like it, but it's the Packers. The Packers have 47 of their 53-man roster signed already, and they have $40 million in cap space. It's outside of the conference completely, so there's no issues with that. The Packers have an extra pick from New Orleans, so they can part ways with their high pick. I think it's the 12th overall, and that way you get something in return for it. For the Packers, it's a great plus,
and he'll only cost you $13 million.
It'll only cost who?
AB. It only costs the Packers $13 million a year.
Yeah, but it's going to cost the Steelers $22 million, Kev.
If they cut him,
if they trade him,
trade him
like he said, they have 2 picks, like I said, New Orleans pick and their own pick. Trade him, and it won't be what is he making, $18 million a year? But that's with the signing bonus. He'll only count on Green Bay's cap for about $12 million.
Yeah,
and that's why I said San Francisco, because they have actually more money and they have more picks.
I don't think it's going to take more picks. I think it gets 1 pick, gets it done.
Kev?
Yeah, I don't think working it out is possible at this point, even though that would be their best course of action. He's a Hall of Famer. Fit-wise, though, I agree with Omar. San Francisco, I think Devin with Green Bay will be a good look. I pray he ends up in the NFC. But I think Indy would probably be the best fit for
He's just gonna get everybody.
Antonio.
Indy's getting everybody.
Listen, because think about it, at this point in his career, you want to play with a capable quarterback, a team that's on the up and up. Indy needs a guy like that to supplement T.Y. Hilton on the other side. But one dark horse who I think we continue to rule out, where do black disgruntled wide receivers go at the end of their career? New England. And they're going to help that motherfucker Tom Brady live another 2-3 years. But we'll see.
I got a dark horse team for you. I think their best course of action is to work it out, not only for financial reasons, but at the end of the day, Antonio's going to be there long after Ben is left. And I just think that you cannot, and I've said it before, you cannot have an offseason where you lose 2 top 3 players at their position.
How can he reconcile this, though? Like, he's basically called them everything but bitches.
Well, the thing, you sit them down in a room. I
don't think their position is as bad as it may seem, because Connor is a very good running back.
Yeah, we saw what that got them at the end of the season.
Just saying. And if you can get picks back, like you can do a soft reboot a la Pete Carroll. Like you don't have to blow
That's
the
my
whole
dark
thing
horse.
up.
I was gonna say Carolina actually because
Who's going to throw on the ball next year?
Cam, and they said that surgery was minimally. It was a very minimal surgery. It wasn't. It was a scope. It wasn't.
You mean throw it
anything deep.
accurately?
That's
is a different word.
that's what you tell the season ticket holders.
So you can re-up.
Finally, we had the Senior Bowl, which is actually becoming more interesting than the Pro Bowl. It is
There's consequence.
Right.
It's a showcase that is held annually in Mobile, Alabama for college players who actually were seniors. The teams were coached by the North was coached by Junior Blues Oakland Raiders. So John Gruden was the head coach and his coaching staff. And then in the South, it was Mr. Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers and their coaching staff. Real quick, I believe the North won the game. Give me one standout player that we should be looking for come the draft that was in this game. I'll start with you, Junior Blue.
I had Nasir Adderley.
That's exactly who I get out of my notes. Delaware.
I mean, Delaware. DB was a cornerback, switched to safety, balled out the whole week in practice, intercepting Duke's quarterback Jones. And then in the actual game, he had an interception against
He
Jackson.
was captain for the North team. Delaware.
Yep.
He's out of Delaware. So, hey,
First rounder.
GMs, yes, go up and get him. Devin.
Debo Samuel,
Yeah.
Debo.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. I think he was the top rated player all week in the entire bowl, and that was the best position group of the whole week.
The receivers.
and he stood out.
Red-O.
I'm taking Daniel Jones.
Okay.
I actually think he did help his draft status. He showed he had some good field of vision. He had a live arm. So he stepped up and made more money.
Chef Curry.
They can change football all they want. It's going to be one in the trenches. I went with Mr. Andre Dillard, tackle from Washington State. I think he will be the first to come off the board.
Junior Blue, real quick, with Coach Gruden being the head coach in this game, is your future starting quarterback in this game?
No. I had to think who the quarterbacks were. No. We're not taking Jones, Jackson, none of them.
Or Locke. Hey, but guess what? John Elway likes locks. That must mean he's trash.
Because he don't know how to pick quarterbacks. Shit.
Before we get out of here, let's get to the big game. We've got Super Bowl 53 in Atlanta. Los Angeles Rams going against the New England Patriots. Rams 13-3. The Patriots finished the season 11-5. The Patriots dusted off the Chargers. They dusted off the Chiefs en route to the Super Bowl. The Rams took care of the Cowboys at home, then went on the road under controversial circumstances, and they defeated the New Orleans Saints. Before we get to our final score predictions, first question, Kev, biggest key to the game for you is what?
The Rams front has to make New England's offense one-dimensional. If they can do that and somehow get pressure on Brady, they'll still lose by 5.
Red-O.
Jared Goff and Belichick.
Okay.
I think that chess match right there is the most important one.
You really think he's sitting at the chess table with Belichick, or is it McVay?
He at the table with him. He at the Super Bowl. I'm just saying.
Dev?
I was struggling with 2.
Okay.
I think it's, can Goff keep the idiot savant face, the Eli face that he had last Sunday? Because we called it, he's about to throw a pick 6, and he came out with and he did what he was supposed to do. I think if he's able to do that, then it's a compelling game. Also, that porous Rams run defense, can they stop New England's run?
Listen, it's very boring, but football is a game in the trenches. And
Hasn't changed in 100 years.
It hasn't changed in 100 years. And I dare to say it's not going to change in the next 100 years. The Patriots, the key to their, I would say, basically dominant run here in the playoffs has been that power run game. And the Rams, they've had trouble stopping the run all year. I think, to me, that's the key. If they can run for 150 yards, it's not even going to be an issue. Junior Blue?
I need McVay to have 2 game plans. And the reason I say that is because Belichick is going to stop one. He is going to have done his research. He's going to say, we're going to stop what you do here.
By research, do you mean extra cameras?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I need
That's funny.
so I need him to have a counter to that already prepared, not, hey, they're stopping our run or they're stopping our whatever, and then at halftime try to come up with something. He needs to go into the game with two different game plans.
Yeah, so that leads into the second question, which is, what are you most looking forward to? I am most looking forward to, it's a variation of what you're saying, Junior Blue, and what you were alluding to, Red O, specifically pre-snap, okay? We know that McVay likes to take advantage of that 15-second window where he gets to talk to Jared Goff, and he gets to survey the defense and make it real easy for him. I'm willing to bet any and everything that Belichick is going to show a 15-second defensive front and defensive alignment, and then he's going to show something completely different once that microphone is shut off. So that
Not right away though.
that cat and mouse game pre-snap is what I'm looking forward to. Also, the Rams oftentimes, they'll go no huddle. Sometimes they'll do like a little sugar huddle and then rush to the line. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's happening before the snap that I'm going to be looking forward to. Kev, what about you?
Well, to piggyback off Devin's point, I'm looking at Jared Goff at his first incompletion because I said it when we were watching that Saints game last week. He wanted no parts of that game. Luckily for them, he was able to settle in, but is the moment too big for him? Like, I kind of thought the same thing about Lamar Jackson, his first playoff game, Patrick Mahomes in that game last week. Can you settle down and actually make the plays you have to make and not get caught up in the anxiety and the energy? Because a lot of teams you see that have never been there before, they're amped up, and then after halfway through the first quarter, they're tired just from nerves.
Right.
So I just want to see if he can settle in and lead that offense down the field.
Will Wade Phillips be able to do what Bob Sutton couldn't, which is make adjustments?
Yeah.
Because they do nothing the same, ever.
Redo.
McVay, is he ready for the moment? What will he bring to the table, or will it be too much for him?
Junior Blue.
Mine is sort of like Red O and Kev's. I want to see if the whole Rams squad can step up on this stage. I mean, to think that Tom Brady has more Super Bowl appearances than the whole Rams squad.
Yeah.
I mean, can that team, and they're young too,
Yeah.
can that team step up with all those lights flashing?
Brady has been to the Super Bowl longer than Jared Goff's been an NFL player. All right. Give me, Junior Blue, your unsung hero for this game.
Mark Barron.
Wow.
If the front four can get pressure on Brady, which I feel like they can, the way Brady defeats that is out the backfield to James White or those quick slots, slot over the middle, Edelman, stuff like that. And that's where Barron will be. Okay. He will be over that slot sometimes. He will be out getting James White. And if he can control those two and they can get pressure up front, it's a whole different ballgame.
James White. I think James White should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 51. I think that the corners for the Rams are better suited to man up against the 1.5 receivers that the Patriots have. Mm-hmm. And in the NFC Championship game, Alvin Kamara had 11 catches for 90-some yards. And the Patriots will burn your ass out the backfield with their running back, specifically White.
Redo?
One Mr. Alex Guerrero.
Alex, oh my God.
It's real spit. Tom's trainer. And whatever undetectable steroids he is feeding Tom, he is the real unsung hero.
He's the MVP.
He's the MVP. Oh my God. Kev?
This is unsung, not unlikely. Unsung, I'm going with Rams wide receiver Brandon Cooks because he is on a revenge tour. He got revenge on the Saints last week. He coming for the Patriots this week. He got to show up, boy.
And he slept
Again,
through
this
last
game is
year's
over.
Super Bowl.
He did.
That's funny. I said James Devlin, fullback for the Patriots. I think there's a little bit of James White with him catching the ball out the backfield. The fullback, I mean, I don't even know how many teams actually utilize a fullback in today's NFL, but I look for him also in the power running game on short conversions. To beat the Patriots, you got to get them off the field on third down. If they get you in third and short, the whole playbook is open. There's a lot of James Devlin, I think, in this game. I think he is a good unsung hero candidate. And now we get to final score predictions. Before we get to the final score, let me just get this out the way. Is there anybody amongst us who is picking the Rams to win?
I am.
Whoa!
I will never pick New
He will
England.
never pick New England. He says that.
Just on the strength.
On the strength. 31-27 Rams.
How did this happen, Junior Blue?
This is how it happens. This is how it happens. All right? Listen here. They are going to attempt to run. There will be times...
Who's going to attempt to run? Let's be clear.
The Patriots.
Are
The
gonna attempt
Patriots
to
are
run.
going to attempt to run.
Mm-hmm.
They will get stopped to where they... Because every time they get stopped, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. That's where they get stopped. And then they go James White out the backfield and get the first down or Edelman. And remember, my unsung hero
Is Mark Barron.
is Mark Barron.
Putting a lot
He
on.
should, hey,
A
if
converted
he showed,
safety.
Hey, listen. But a converted safety playing what?
Linebacker.
Exactly. And that puts him in a position to get to James White better than a normal sized linebacker.
Okay. And they're going to score 31 points because how?
Because New England's defense is not all that great. They will spread them out and they will score. Now, I don't know how healthy Gurley is,
Right.
but I think they still get it. I think it get up there.
All right.
I don't want people to think that Les going lone wolf is that we don't want him to be right.
That's a different question. Ask for hands on that question.
How many want less to be the lone wolf? All right. Kev, what's your final score prediction and why?
31-23, the Rams lose. Again, y'all really think America's team in this America 2019 is going to lose back-to-back Super Bowls? Y'all out y'all fucking mind. Listen, we saw the refs come to play a week and what was it, 2 weeks ago? They ain't letting that shit happen on Sunday, man.
Redo.
And Trump is giving an interview before the game.
Oh, God.
So the end of the final score will be 35-28 Patriots.
35-28 Patriots. All right. And Dad?
All 8 Super Bowls for the Patriots have come down to one possession games. I have it 37-31 Patriots.
Really?
It's in a dome.
I don't think it's a one possession game. I think it's 30-21 Patriots. I really do think their run game is going to dictate everything. And 30-21 doesn't sound that bad, right? It sounds like 9 points. This is going to be a snoozer of a Super Bowl, I think. I think Belichick is going to, you guys, your concerns about Jared Goff, I agree with that. I think that he's going to look like Boo Boo the Fool. He's going to be confused. He's going to see ghosts. They're going to dominate time of possession with running the ball. That's all I see.
So
I
you
don't
think
see
the
the Rams
Rams
doing it.
score in the last 30 seconds to make it a 9-point game?
Right.
Onside kick down 9. 30 seconds left.
Me too, bro.
All right. So this has been another episode of 32 Kings Road. Next week will be our final episode of this season. Please check us out. We look forward to that. Enjoy the Super Bowl Sunday. As a reminder, you can follow us everywhere on social media. Our handle is @TheLeagueAM. Please check out our website, theleagueam.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, League Ambassadors, and we will see you next week. Cheerio and stay warm, America.
Get them Girl Scout cookies.
Running down the line. We got Kenny Ken put 100 on a tease with the streak for the cash. ESPN. Seth Curry with the shot. The prodigy. In reality, he's more like Seth, but he's all we got. Up next is Gentleman Jack, better known as Junior Blue. We told him not to do it anyway, but he did what he do. To his right is Devin, that dude, El Dad or Dirt Ass Dan. Just don't ask him a question, cause then he'll answer your question with another question, and then he'll add another question on top of that question. Damn. And I'm Red O, the Buck Wild Problem Child.
Flow Butter, aka John Cutter.
It's the League Ambassadors, and we playing to win at the 2-yard line. And make no mistake, we running it in.